Welcome back to the Uketropolis Podcast. I'm your host, James Hill. This is the final episode of Season 2 of the podcast, and today I finally get to reveal the project I've been working on and dropping hints about for the past few weeks. I'm really excited to share this with you, so stick around. So I've been dropping hints about a new project for a while now, and today I'm just going to come out and tell you exactly what I've been working on. So here goes. I have a new album. There it is. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. I have a new album, and it's called Ukeheads. That's right, Ukeheads. And here's the thing. I want you to play and sing on the album. There it is. I've been wanting to say that for months. I have a new album. It's called Ukeheads, and I want you to play and sing with me on the album. Simple, right? Well, yes and no. I mean, the idea is simple. Let's make an album together. Instead of me toiling away in the studio and then dropping this music on you all at once like a bolt from the blue, let's instead build this thing together. Now, it's going to take a little while, maybe a year or so, but we'll record about one song a month, and by the end of the recording process, which really, if you think about it, is just the beginning of the life of an album, at the end of this recording process, you'll have definitely had a unique musical experience. That's for sure. You'll know the songs from the inside out, and you'll have your name in the credits, along with other ukulele players from around the world who join in. This is part community and it's part album. And for me, it represents the convergence of artistry and pedagogy. It's a big idea, and I really believe we can do this together. This idea has been kicking around in my head for years now, and it really came from a conversation I had with Tony Coleman, my great friend Tony Coleman from Toronto, who is the director of that wonderful ukulele documentary, Mighty Uke. And we were sitting around having lunch one day when I was visiting him in Toronto, and I said, Tony, you know the ukulele world better than anyone at this point. You've traveled the world to create this amazing documentary. You've met so many people in the ukulele universe, and you have a bird's eye view of the whole thing. What should I do now? I've released some albums, I've written some books, I've toured around, but what should I do now? And he didn't even hesitate. He said, what you should do is write an album and produce an album that everyone can play on. He said it brings everything together, doesn't it? It brings together the teaching, it brings together the performing, it brings together the writing. It's all there. And I knew he was right. I knew he was right in that moment, and the idea has been with me now for years, and finally, it's happening. There are so many things I want to tell you about this album. I want to tell you why it's called Ukeheads. I want to tell you how it's all going to work and exactly how we're going to collaborate on this. And I will tell you all those things. But honestly, for me, everything hinges on the music. It always does. The music comes first, and everything else springs from the music. So let's start with that. Let's start with the music. I've written 10 songs for this album, and I'd like to share 2 or 3 demo recordings with you right here, right now. This is really fun, by the way. I mean, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. The first demo I want to share with you is a song called Lie-Dee-Die, and it's a song I co-wrote with a good friend of mine, Chris Parsons, who is also involved in the Ukeheads project. This just happens to be one of those songs that we wrote together. We grew up playing ukulele together, and whenever we have time, we like to write songs. And this was one that we wrote in his basement one night. It's called Lie-Dee-Die. I'll play you the chorus, and the part that leads up to the chorus. And remember, this is a demo recording so that I can show you what I mean, not just tell you what I mean. But you have to imagine yourself in the mix, just singing your heart out. And one thing you'll notice right away is what an epic sing-along the chorus is. So let's listen, and then we'll talk about why the songs on this album are, in general, so big and bold sounding. Okay, here we go with Lie-Dee-Die.
Butterfly is just a fall you walk away from. You walked away, and my heart is singing tonight in its cage, like a little bird with a broken wing who might fly again someday.
Okay, so it's a pretty massive sound, right? And you might be thinking, where's the ukulele? Well, it is there, but it might not sound the way you were expecting. Just like on my last solo album, which was the old Silo, I'm playing a lot of baritone ukulele here. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that my favorite alternate baritone tuning is B-E-B-E, or bebe tuning. Sounds like that. It's really just two notes, B and E, that are repeated again, B and E. And the two E's are an octave apart. And when you add a bit of overdrive to that, it sounds pretty massive. So if you're listening for that conventional ukulele sound, you won't hear it on a track like that one. But I assure you, ukulele is the backbone of every track on this album. So why did I go for such a big, epic sound? Well, it's a combination of things. First, I just like that big sound. I'm really in the mood for that sound right now. Like everyone, I think, I feel like I've been cooped up for the past 2 years, and I really just want to let loose. I want to sing at the top of my lungs. I want to celebrate life and music, and I just want to give her, as we say in Nova Scotia, just give her. So that's one reason. And plus, if I'm going to have you and a bunch of other people singing with me on the recording, it just has to be something we can all sing together, almost like a catharsis. It can't be anything really delicate or intricate. It just won't work for a project of this scale. So that's why the songs tend to be kind of epic sounding, which, I think is fun, and I think you will too. And that leads me to the name of the album, Uke Heads. Why is it called Uke Heads? Well, as if it weren't enough for the album to also be a community and a worldwide musical collaboration, it's also an art project. Now, I've always loved making art. In fact, if I think back to my senior year in high school, I had 6 classes of art out of a total of 8 classes in my schedule. I'm not quite sure how I swung that, but 6 classes out of 8 were art classes. And at university, I almost had enough art credits to get a minor in fine art. So it's something that's always been a part of me. And for this project, I've just embraced that and made the visual art a real centerpiece of the project. So Uke Heads is actually a series of, get this, 1,879 portraits of the ukulele. 1,879 one-of-a-kind portraits of our favorite instrument. They're kind of whimsical, colorful, they're a bit silly. They're full of personality, these portraits of the ukulele. And the way that you can directly support the album and the way you get to participate in the recording of the album is by collecting one of these uke heads. That's it. You purchase one of these art pieces and you get to play and sing on the recording. Your ukehead is unique to you. No one else has one exactly like yours. And that ukehead is your ticket to ride. It's your ticket to participate in this global ukulele ensemble that I'm putting together for the album. I really hope that you'll join the band. So let's listen to some more music. I'm thinking back now to my first solo ukulele recording, which I recorded in my dorm room at university 20 years ago, which is hard to believe. On that album, I played a version of Gershwin's Summertime. And this was not intentional at all, but here I am 20 years later, and I've written a song called Summertime for this album. And I'm playing it on the baritone ukulele once again, and it's tuned with this B-E-B-E alternate tuning. And really, I have no idea, honest to God, I have no idea what these chords are that I'm playing. I remember just coming up with them one day, just noodling around in the B-E-B-E tuning. And I was like, I love that sound. I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's what you'll hear with a little touch of overdrive. You'll hear that throughout this whole tune, Summertime. So let's have a listen to a little bit of it. Here we go.
Jet black GTO, got a better get up and go. Black light stereo, summertime. Hey, hey, what do you know? Everybody's at the show. Easy come, easy go, summertime.
So there's a little sample of the song Summertime from the album Ukeheads, the album that we're going to record together over the course of about a year. This is, this is so fun. This is really wild. Sometimes you feel like you got your toes right over the edge. I think of like longboard surfers when they stand right on the edge of the board with their toes hanging over the nose. And you're just like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. I have a really good feeling about this, but there's no template for what we're doing here. This is new territory. This is uncharted territory. And I really hope that you can be part of it because it's going to be great. So before I sign off for this season of the podcast, I need to share a couple more sort of nuts and bolts things with you, like when the Ukeheads artwork is going to be available, and what you can do next if you're interested in being part of all of this. First, the Ukeheads artwork is going to go on sale on Wednesday, June 1st. Wednesday, June 1st at noon Pacific time. So mark that date and time in your calendar. You will be able to see at least some of the artwork before then. I've already started releasing previews of the artwork on Twitter and Facebook. So just search for the handle Ukeheads Music and make sure to follow those accounts so you get updates as they happen. Ukeheads Music. Also, and this is really key, throughout the month of May, I'm going to be running weekly live drop-in sessions about Ukeheads. That's going to be every Thursday at noon Pacific. I'm going to be live for about an hour on my YouTube channel. Because I know there's going to be lots of questions about how all this works. It's almost like I'm signing off of the podcast, but really at the same time that the podcast usually comes out every week, instead I'm going to be doing these live drop-in sessions on YouTube. So my team and I, we've done our best to make this project as fun and painless as possible. We're removing, every barrier that we could think of so that buying a ukehead and participating in the recording is really no more difficult than buying a blender or a t-shirt online. And yet I know there are going to be lots of questions. So Thursdays in May at noon Pacific time on my YouTube channel, I'll be there to answer questions and help walk you through the ins and outs of this so that come June 1st, you're ready and you're confident about jumping into this whole thing with me. I'll put the links to those social accounts and my YouTube channel in the show notes for this podcast so that you can find them easily. Now, one question I know I'm going to get is this. How can you have a one-of-a-kind digital art piece? Because ukeheads are digital art pieces. When you buy one, you don't get a framed print in the mail. You get a digital art piece in your email. So, can't a digital file just be copied and shared with everybody? Well, yes, but now we have the ability to verify that you are the owner of a work. It's just like when I go to the art museum and I see the Picasso and I see the Rembrandt, I don't own those works just because I can see them. And that's how it is with ukeheads. We have 1,879 art pieces and 1,879 owners. Well, unless somebody buys two. So how is this possible? Well, this is where we cross over into the polarizing, but I think ultimately really exciting new world of NFTs. That's right, NFTs. You've had CDs, you've had MP3s, and now you've got NFTs. And it's kind of nice that they all kind of rhyme. That's convenient. Now, you've probably heard about NFTs in the news. NFT stands for non-fungible token. And it's that thing where people pay millions of dollars for an image that anyone could just download onto their computer, right? Those kinds of stories, that kind of hype in the news can be pretty annoying, definitely confusing, and a bit scary, and can make for kind of tense conversation at the dinner table, right? Of course, that's what happens. New ideas are almost always annoying and confusing and scary on some level. But if we look together beyond the hype of NFTs, I think we're going to find a really promising new landscape for art and for music and for community. This is a future where buying a token for a project like Ukeheads is really just like buying a ticket to a concert or a workshop or anything. There's really not much difference. Your token is your ticket. In other words, your Ukehead is your ticket. It's simple as that. And no, you don't need cryptocurrency to buy a Ukehead. You don't even need a digital wallet to store it in. You don't need any of that. It's really no different than buying a book online or a ticket to see your favorite band. It's just in this case, the ticket is also a fun piece of art that you can collect. And at the end of all this, you'll be on the album. And I'll be there to guide you through every step of the way. It's really that simple, and it's going to be fun. Okay, let's finish with some more music, shall we? One more preview of a song from the album. This one is called The Night, and I'm seriously thinking about starting the album with this track. It's a bona fide sing-along, as you'll hear in the chorus, and it just kind of sets the tone for the rest of the album. The hook in the lyric is, "Only the night knows who we really are." And I don't know about you, but I'm a night owl, and a lot of the work for this album was done at night, in the dark, in the quiet of those wee hours. So if you're a night owl, this one is for you. Here's a preview of The Night.
And the lie is to the liar, what the fan is to the fire, what a good wine is to desire. We've been gone so long. We've been gone so long. Only the night knows who we really are. Two satellites in free fall round a star. Only the night knows who we really are. Ooh.
So I think that's enough for now. The cat is out of the bag. My new album is called Ukeheads. It's 10 songs recorded in collaboration with you and other Ukeheads from around the world. It's part album, it's part community, and you can join me every Thursday in May on YouTube for Q&A about this project. So follow the social media account Ukeheads Music on Facebook and Twitter, and mark June 1st in your calendar. That's the day that all 1,879 Ukeheads will go on sale. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting Uketropolis. And thank you for keeping an open mind about what's possible at this intersection of music and art and education and community. This is really exciting stuff. We are on the cutting edge. And why shouldn't the ukulele be on the cutting edge? This is going to be a really interesting few months, and I hope you'll be part of this Ukeheads adventure. Regular episodes of the podcast will be back in September. So until then, take care and keep on strumming.